Hey, everybody. Welcome to our first Friday of the month.
Hi.
July 5th, post July 4th. I hope everyone has all their fingers from yesterday still intact here in the United States. It was our Independence Day yesterday.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Spent it laying on the couch.
Me too, actually.
So I hope you guys have all had a great month. We've had a very busy month. Seems like things are getting busier and busier. Since the last time we saw you, we've been to Annecy, France and back. We've been cranking away on our animated short Snow Bear. And in the last week or so, I think it was June 24th, we celebrated the 30th anniversary of the release of The Lion King. So we thought today it might be kind of fun to do something with The Lion King, since I was one of the crew members on the original Lion King. Yes, I was lucky enough to create young Nala and animate her in the film. So I thought it would be fun to kind of resurrect her and do some new animation with her today and show you, the way I used to do it back in the day, except to be drawing it on Cintiq.
Say, real quick, could you tilt down your webcam just a tad? Because your chin is almost hitting the bottom there.
Here, is that better? Is that better?
There you go. There you go. Perfect.
Better? Oh,
That's better.
Now it was perfect, but then Nick got it.
Sorry.
Hello.
There's a thing at the back. So
Yep. That's better.
Yeah, it's Nick.
a little bit of a hiccup.
Just a little bit.
Now we're back. Sorry about that, everybody.
So, obviously, before we dive in, because we've always got some kind of deal going on
Your microphone's down.
over at creatureartteacher.com. Thank you. I completely forgot to put my mic on. I could have grabbed it, Nick. You could have sat there.
Sorry, I was already up. We're discombobulated today, everybody.
Yeah.
There's been a lot going on. That's what Aaron was saying.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of stuff going on at creatureartteacher.com. We got some really cool deals, and we got some cool partnerships that have kind of just matured and we've started. One being with Lilorosh that I want to talk about. But do you want to dive in?
Yeah. So first thing I want to let everybody know, first of all, yes, welcome back for those of us who haven't seen us in a month, and also welcome to our monthly, our regular, annual, and streaming members for whom we do twice weekly live streams. So if you become a member to Creature Art Teacher, you don't have to wait once a month to see us. You can see us twice a week. But I want to let you know, as Aaron said, because we're celebrating Independence Day here in the U.S., we are running our annual 4th of July holiday sale that's extended through this weekend. Everything on the website is 30% off or more. Plus, if you spend $50 or more, you'll get an instant $15 off your order. And that applies to memberships as well. Not the lifetime membership. That's excluded because that's already such a good deal. We don't have extra deals on that. Speaking of which, the lifetime and
it's still going on.
The lifetime membership plan and the two deals are still available. The two best deals in the history of Creature Art Teacher. We've got our animation mega bundle is 90% of the way to its first unlock. I think we sell like another 15 courses. Everyone will get the character design course included, and then we'll be adding more as it goes. And we're over 70% sold on the lifetime memberships. So if you want to get the best deal in the history of art education, consider becoming a lifetime member to Creature Art Teacher. You'll get all those live streams. You'll get everything available on the website, plus everything we come out with forever.
Yeah, and I want to mention, the whole reason we came up with that is we are coming up on the end of production of Snow Bear, our animated short that we've been working on for the last couple of years. And at the end, the big thing, the big drive at the end is post-production. That's when we do the Foley work and we do our score, the musical score, and then we also have to do all the mixing. And that's when we have to bring in people from outside, and that's where the rubber hits the road as far as dollars go. So we are raising money to help us pay for all of that.
Absolutely.
And so with every lifetime membership that we score, that we sell, that goes towards helping us finish Snow Bear.
Absolutely. We've got some more, but we'll go ahead and just dive into animation, and I'll hit those other ones as we go along.
I want to mention Lilo and Rosh first, real quick, before we go on. For those of you that, I've always, for the last few years, I've talked about Lilorosh over and over, talked about their arties. I love their products so much. I was going to say, I've got one right here. The arties are the art bags, the handmade art bags that I've been talking about for the last several years. This one's empty right now. Well, they just came out with a new product. They came out with some new watercolor sketchbooks, and I partnered with them, and they've been putting my images, some of my watercolor images, on the covers of their sketchbooks. And I'm really honored that they did this with us. But they're 5x7, and there's one with the tiger, and then here is one with a lion that I did in watercolor. These are all watercolor paintings of mine I did in the past here. And then this one here was a wolf portrait that I did. And the quality of the paper is wonderful. And I just really recommend it. If you go on over to Lilorosh. If you go over to Lilorosh.com, you can find them there. And you can buy them individually if you want, or you can buy a set of 3 and they come in this beautiful little box. And so it's a great set. I'm pulling on my cords here. I really recommend them. Actually, I want to see something real quick. I want to see if it was in this one. Yeah, right here. This one here, I've already done I don't know if you can see or not, but I've already done a little watercolor painting in there. And it really took the pigment really well. So yeah, it was a little sketch from Africa. And so anyway, I just really I love their company. I love them. They've got an incredible business. They create top quality products for everybody. They really care about their customers, and so I want to promote them as much as I can. And I just think they're really great. So go on over to Lilorosh.com and check them out. Now let's get back to animation. So I worked on The Lion King back in I started working on The Lion King in 1992. That's when I finished up with Aladdin, and I was switching over to start a new project, and I was cast, just like a live actor is cast to a role. I was cast to a role, and my role was this cute little female lion cub. That's one of the great qualities of being an animator, is that you can be anybody. And so I spent several months designing her, coming up with the look, and working closely with the other supervising animators to make sure that we were all kind of designing within the same world. We wanted our characters all to feel like they came from the same movie. And so we would get together every week, and it was interesting because Mark Henn, who created Young Simba, and myself, we were based in Florida. And all the other supervising animators, with the exception of Alex Cooper-Smith, because he was doing the hyenas as well. He was with us in Florida. But all the rest of the supervising animators, they were in California. And you got to keep in mind, 1992 was before the age of video conferencing or internet or emailing or anything like that. And so we literally we'd do our drawings during the week. and then we'd make Xeroxes of them, and then we would FedEx the drawings out to California for where the directors were, and then we would have phone calls, and we would talk about, all the drawings were numbered, and we would talk about, number 2 has a great nose, number 3, the eyes, I like the eyes. Why don't you combine number 2 and number 3 and blah, blah, blah. That's how we designed our characters. And it was quite an archaic setup, but we made it work. So anyway, here's Nala, and I'm starting her out, and I wanted to be, put her in a nice, cute little pose. And I thought maybe we could have her sit up and kind of be excited and stand up and maybe twirl around or something and head out. Well, I don't know how much we'll get done today, but you get to see some original Nala animation. So how's that? So I've got the onion skin on right now. I'm working in TV Paint on my Wacom Cintiq 32.
This is still TV Paint 11. They just came out with TV Paint 12. We just haven't upgraded because we're in the middle of production on Snow Bear.
Right.
But TV Paint 12 is out now, and it's got a lot of cool features, camera moves, all kinds of stuff that we'll be doing some demos on in the future.
It's going to be quite nice.
Are all of your brush packs usable in Procreate?
Yes.
Yes, they are. And all of our brush sets right now are only $1 as part of our 4th of July sale, by the way. And we had an Instagram question. Have you ever animated in Procreate Dreams? And if so, what did you think about it?
Well, matter of fact, I was hired by Procreate to create an animated short. And actually, I don't know if we've got a link to that or not.
We have the ability to play it if we need to.
Yes, I created a little 1.5-minute short in Dreams, and I loved it.
Yeah, when they announced Dreams, they used Aaron's penguin animation to announce the software, as a matter of fact. And we plan on doing more with it in the future. And we have a full course on it, by the way, that's only $10 right now.
I got a Lion King question. Did the Disney artists for Lion King go to Tanzania and Kenya?
Yes. I didn't go. It was only a select few that got to go. Actually, I think it was only one animator that got to go. But they went to Kenya. Yeah, they went to the Masai Mara.
And you've since been there several times.
I've been to the Masai Mara 4 times now.
3 times.
So I'm having her kind of sit up and be really cute. I want her to be really cute here. Look at the viewer. Hopefully you guys can see this.
Is there a segment you would have liked to have worked on in Fantasia?
The original Fantasia, or
I'm assuming
Fantasia
maybe in the
2000?
original, but
I would have loved, was it the Rite of Spring, the dinosaur and the lava? And
yeah.
When are you going to Rwanda to see the gorillas?
Next week, we're heading out. We got our plane tickets yesterday. I don't know. We don't have, that's a very random question, but someday.
We actually fly out tomorrow.
So as she sits up, I'm thinking about her anatomy. Her shoulder is going to shift over like so. And she's got probably making her a little bit more of a teenager build at this point.
Teenagerly.
So their shoulders, cats and dogs and a lot of four-legged animals, their shoulders are kind of pushed forward. Like, our shoulders are at our sides. But four-legged animals that walk like this tend to have their shoulders kind of pushed forward.
Another Instagram question. Aaron, are you set on who's doing the music for Snow Bear, or are you open to having other composers try to write something for it?
We are set. We have actually hired And we're very excited about this. We have brought on Mark Mancina, who was the composer for Brother Bear. He was also the composer for Tarzan. He was the composer for Moana. He also was the composer for Sea Beast on Netflix that you may have seen, directed by Chris Williams. And so Mark and I go back 20 years, having worked together on Brother Bear, and he's just wonderful to work with. Him and his assistant, Marlon Espino, are working on it, and we're thrilled.
Brett on Instagram asks, did you animate on the I Just Can't Wait to Be King song?
I did. That was one of our sequences that we did completely here in Florida, because I was at the Florida studio, and so I animated Nala throughout that. That's where, when one of my favorite scenes to animate in that sequence was when Simba and Nala were running up to Zazu, and he would turn to scold one cat, and the other cat would make faces behind his back, and then he'd turn to scold the other cat, and that cat would make faces. It was fun to animate all that. I also animated when they're riding the ostriches. I animated the ostriches in there. And so here I'm having her kind of turn her paws a little bit as she sits up. You notice her back goes back a little bit. Maybe push her leg out just a touch. Everything is affected by everything. So as she sits up, her sitting up is affecting her entire body. And you want to think about that as an animator.
How did Lion King become the B picture and Pocahontas the A?
We were just talking about that. So when Pocahontas and The Lion King were being made at the same time, basically the same time. And so some of the top animators in the studio were cast on Pocahontas. And so a lot of people, it's like Glenn Keane. He was doing the character of Pocahontas. And so a lot of people assumed, well, if Glenn's over on that project, that must be the good project. And The Lion King is probably the one where they're just dumping everybody else. I was lucky because I got to work on both. I worked on The Lion King, and then I went over and actually animated with Glenn Keane the character Pocahontas. So it was interesting because that was the thought among the animators anyway. Where a lot of us, though, myself mainly, and some of the other animal guys, we were just thrilled to be able to work on The Lion King. I didn't care that some guys were saying it was the B project, because it was just, being able to animate animals and lions, and it was so much fun. And lo and behold, it turned out to be the biggest hit, bigger than they could ever imagine. Nick was saying that Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was number 2 in charge at the time, was, he said to shareholders that he'd be happy if it just made its money back.
And it went far beyond that. In fact, it's the highest grossing 2D animated film of all time.
Yeah.
And until Shrek 2 came out, it was the highest grossing animated film of all time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to keep her.
I was reading that the play worldwide box office has made over $8 billion. Which is crazy.
Yeah. How do you make that with a play?
Well, it's been running nonstop for 30 years.
Oh yeah, I guess it has been 30 years.
Yeah.
Absolute insanity.
It's been on Broadway that entire time. Plus, it's been touring.
Yeah, that's the thing to me, is that working on that film doesn't seem like that long ago to me. It certainly doesn't seem like 30 years. And I'm starting to really kind of see my age now. So here we have her sitting up. Now,
Have
how would
you-
we in between that? Let's
Someone
have-
asks, have you seen the musical?
Yes. Matter of fact, I went the day that I saw the musical. I went and was able to go backstage and try on some of the costumes and kind of just explore. And
You had to try on the costumes?
yeah, it was
I don't
cool.
think I've ever heard that part.
Yeah, because I went back and I was like trying on the headdresses and
That's awesome.
yeah, it was great.
That's pretty cool.
And I got to say, when I saw it later that evening, I teared up because there are sequences in there that, you know, you see them interpreted in the play, but you also, you know, I have the unique experience of having worked on the original film, and so when you see it interpreted in a whole new kind of really beautiful artistic way, it's moving. It's you start to see the effect that you've had on pop culture. You know, it's really incredible.
It's quite fascinating.
Yes.
Also want to let people know that Aaron has an art book out, as he's actually had several out, but the Art of Aaron Blaise Volume 2 has been out for a little bit, and we are actually starting to get lower on stock. And this weekend, sort of in celebration of our whole Independence Day thing, if you're in the USA, you can get a free shipping on a signed copy of the book. Just go to creatureartteacher.com/books, and you can enter promo code USA Books, and you'll get free US shipping on any book order, U.S. and
You okay?
Puerto Rico. Sorry,
You okay?
You okay there, buddy?
words no worky.
So what I'm doing here is here's her nose, and her head's going to drag a bit as she raises her head. I'm going to have her blink, so her eyes will be closed right here. Actually, I'm going to pull her face over just a little bit. One of the advantages you can do with digital drawing.
If you've got any Lion King questions, let us know. And be sure to hit that like button and those share buttons also.
Was it after Lion King of the films that followed, like Hercules, Tarzan, Treasure Planet, so on and so forth, that all those became more expensive?
Yeah. So one of the things that happened after The Lion King was that and this was really kind of the launch of all this. It started happening after Beauty and the Beast, but and Aladdin, but The Lion King really kind of nailed it for us.
Cemented it?
Yeah, and that was everybody saw the commercial viability of making animated films up until, you know, through the animated films had never been that lucrative, you know, ever, not even, you know, in the Disney's golden age. They sometimes would make money, but more often than not, they would lose money. But it wasn't until, you know, the 90s where it was really becoming lucrative. So other studios started popping up. You had DreamWorks and you had Warner Brothers started making animation again. And so what that created was a demand for animators. And so we all of a sudden found ourselves as animators in the driver's seat making really, you know, we always, our salaries were always okay. You were never going to be rich as an animator, but our salaries were okay. But then all of a sudden our salaries became big, and we, you know, and the best animators were in demand, and so they could command, you know, almost like a sport contract, signing bonuses and all kinds of stuff. And so as a result of that, obviously the cost of films went up because the cost of your labor went up. You know, the labor cost of an animated film is about 90% of the movie. And so it really costs, you know, it jacked the cost of the films up. And so then when the film came out, if it didn't perform at a certain level, then you're losing money now. And so the risk became greater. And ultimately, it just wasn't sustainable, which is why at the end of the 90s, it kind of, 3D took over, and a lot of studios started shutting down because they were still paying out those high contracts in a lot of places, but the films weren't performing.
Did you do any animation of older Nala? And if you didn't, who did?
Tony DeRosa. Tony DeRosa animated adult Nala. Anthony DeRosa.
You didn't do any shots of her, did you?
No, I didn't.
But you did do some other characters, right? Like you did.
I did. So when I finished, I did quite a bit of, I did a few shots of Simba here and there.
Adult or young?
Young, but I also did adult Simba in the climax of the film, where he's like you don't deserve to live. When he says that was me. So yeah, because Nala was somewhat of a small role, and so I was able to finish her fairly quickly, and then so I went on to some other characters and helped out with them as well. So here we see her head coming up.
I see you use TV Paint 11. Do you need an update for 12?
Yeah, so we just haven't updated yet because I'm in the middle of production on Snow Bear, and I did the entire thing on 11, so I don't want to upgrade until I'm done with Snow Bear.
Chris says the execs must have been pissed when they saw in-betweeners driving better cars than they were.
Yeah.
That never happened. I remember reading a quote with Jim Carrey when someone asked him if he felt bad that he was back in the day when he was getting $20 million per movie, if he ever felt guilty about that.
Yeah.
And he said no, because people were coming to see me and there were executives that were making way more than that. If they could afford to pay me that.
Yep.
Who are the two guys talking in the background?
Yo.
One is my son, Dustin.
Hi.
And then the other one is my business partner and brother-in-law, Nick Birch.
Hello.
And together we're the three amigos.
Mm-hmm. Instagram comment. I just finished both lessons of your character design course and also storyboarding with Tim Hodge.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, for people who don't know, over at Aaron's website, creatureartteacher.com, we have over 750 hours of art and animation courses. We've got lessons on storyboarding, drawing, painting. We've got lessons in Photoshop, Procreate. We've got lessons on animal drawing, tons of animal drawing from Aaron. We've got really a growing library of amazing teachers aside from just Aaron, professional industry experts, experienced teachers. You should go check it out, creatureartteacher.com. And we've also got thousands of brushes, and we've got a bunch of artist reference photo packs from Dustin over there, who's an incredible photographer, which are intended directly for artists to use as reference for artwork.
And actually coming soon, not only is there going to be a whole bunch of art lessons, but there's also going to be a first ever photography lesson.
Yes.
Which I'm very excited.
Just got to get that one done, out the door. We've always got something going on.
Yes, it's going to be an introduction to wildlife photography.
We just received a $5 gift on, or €5 gift on YouTube said as a thank you for the Lion King fandom.
Ah, thank you. So here, I have her kind of settling in. There, she will look up.
Was Scar always going to be the villain in the film?
Yes.
Rashawn says, speaking of photo packs, I'm currently drawing a weaver bird from your pack, Dustin.
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
Drawing it
I
in the
love getting.
Lilorosh book.
Those
I love
Weaver
taking those
birds
Weaver
were
photos.
awesome.
Yeah, it's part of the Africa pack. I think I recall we made the birds. Yeah, we made the big cats separate from the rest of Africa. We can get the full bundle. What character did James Baxter animate?
He did Rafiki.
Rafiki.
Yeah.
What about Mike Surrey?
Mike Surrey did Timon.
Ah,
And then Tony Bancroft did Pumbaa. So Mike Surrey and Tony Bancroft shared an office together so they could create those characters together.
do you think somebody can become a good animator even if he or she is less talented than other artists? Do you think talent is important in our industry?
No, I think hard work is what's important. Hard work always trumps talent. Always. Work hard, listen to the principles stated, practice the principles. Just like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get. And that
Okay.
includes animation.
Sorry. Tabitha wants to know, do you like Artem animation like Wallace and Gromit? And have you ever given claymation a try?
I've never given claymation a try. No, I love Wallace and Gromit actually, but
We
I
need
know
more
it's
kitties.
something that I haven't. Yeah, I haven't tried it. I've always wanted to.
We were hoping to meet Nick Park when we were at Annecy, and we just missed him.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we would have been out on a boat with them.
Yeah, exactly. We had a conflicting thing.
Did you do any animations for Lion King 2?
I did not. Lion King 2 is done overseas as part of our direct-to-video division. So that was a whole different division from from feature animation. See, we would do the original films, and then back in the 90s, we had a division that would then do the sequels that went directly to video.
And those ones were like lower budget.
Yeah, they're always lower budget, and but certain ones turned out pretty good. You know, Lion King 2.5 came out pretty well,
I think it was 1.5.
or 1.5. Sorry.
YouTube question: why do you redraw every frame? Why not just copy the frames and just change the things that move in each frame?
Some people, you can do that with some limited animation, but I'm not redrawing. There's actually movement going on. If you look at the hands, look at the paws, look at the back legs. You know, look at his Nala's spine. I'm not just redrawing it. I'm animating it. So it's just that the animation is very subtle. But you can save money and time by doing what's called held cells. Like if you look at a lot of anime or a lot of Saturday morning cartoons back from the 80s and 70s, you know, a head might be held, but the mouth is moving on a different level, and so you can save time that way. But yeah, if you watch me, you know, scrub back and forth on this animation, everything's moving. Everything is moving. So, you notice her paws are opening up a little bit. Her spine is being pushed back. Her back knee is opening up a little bit. So, yeah.
Peter on Twitch says, "I love those tiny movements."
Yes, those are the things. It's those tiny movements that actually really give life to your animation. So here, I want to have a little in between going into this drawing right here. And I usually would animate a little bit looser than this, but I've got her in my head pretty good today. And I thought, you know what? If we're doing a little demo, maybe I'll draw her a little more on model, a little nicer.
It is the 30th anniversary, after all.
That's right. Boy, she hasn't aged a day.
What's the difference between Glenn Keane's and Eric Goldberg's animations?
Oh, there's hundreds and hundreds of differences. The biggest difference is that Eric Goldberg animates very, very clean, whereas Glenn animates a lot of, kind of really rough and with a lot of passion. Not that Eric doesn't animate with passion, he does, but it's a very controlled
Clean line.
approach. Yeah, clean line that he does.
Want to let people know that we've still got the 2 best deals in the history of Creature Art Teacher happening right now. We've got an Aaron Blaise Animation Mega Bundle, which is over a $500 value, is just $49.99 right now. That includes all of Aaron's animation courses. Plus, the more we sell, we're unlocking new content. In fact, we're just a few sales away from unlocking Aaron's character design course as part of that. And we're over 70% sold on our lifetime membership. And that gets you everything on creatureartteacher.com. So all of the courses, all of the live streams, the members only live streams, all of the brush sets, all of the photo packs, plus everything we come out with forever. So head on over to creatureartteacher.com. Both of those are limited because we're using them to help raise money for Snow Bear. creatureartteacher.com.
Let me, I want to show you really quick. I'm going to mute the music here. But here's a little chunk of Snow Bear. For those of you that haven't seen, I'm just going to jump to the beginning. And this is what you'd be helping us finish. Snow Bear is a project that Nick and I started developing about 7 or 8 years ago. It was an idea that we came up with because we wanted to start creating films. And we wanted to create something that we could do all our own here in our studio. And so we came up with this idea that involved one character, a lonely polar bear living in the Arctic who tries to make friends and has difficulty doing so. So as a result of that, he decides he's going to make a snow bear to keep himself company. And so over the last 2.5 years, I've been working on creating the production, animating everything myself, doing all the backgrounds, doing everything. So everything you see is what I've created over the last couple of years. And so as we wind down towards the end, we need to get the score and the final sound and all the final mixing, which we're going to be doing, by the way, at Skywalker Ranch, our final mix. And so all that is requiring money. And so we're trying to raise the funds to pay our composer and pay our sound designer and Foley artists and all of that. Matter of fact, there's a good chance we'll be recording the score at Abbey Road Studios in London. So they're really wonderful facilities to do this in. And so as a result, you gotta pay for it.
Yeah, we're lucky that we can do the production in-house because Aaron's an animator, as you can see. But post-production is not our bailiwick.
Right.
So we've got to bring people in for that.
So anyway, there you go. There's a little piece of Snow Bear.
Marianne wants to know, did you always deliver such clean drawings to the cleanup artists, or were you rougher when you were in a hurry or anything like that?
I was rougher when I was in a hurry, and I also would do a lot of partials. I've gotten cleaner as I've gotten older and more mature in my animation. I've gotten more controlled in my drawing. But a lot of my tied down drawings weren't much rougher than this.
And a YouTube question, was Nala always the character's name?
Yes.
And thank you for being part of making one of the best movies ever.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Nala was always her name.
And what's the story of how her design came to be?
Well, I did a lot of, I was doing a lot of drawings at the time, really struggling actually with lion anatomy and getting, caricaturing it right. And my daughter at the time was 2 years old, 2.5 years old. And she really had these big, beautiful kind of little doe eyes. And so I started looking at her, started looking at, real cute child proportions, and Nala started to grow out of that. And within a month or two, she was designed. So here I'm gonna just having her close her eyes into that blink as she sits up.
Do you prefer straight ahead or pose to pose animation?
It depends on straight ahead or pose to pose. It really is determined by the type of shot that you're animating. So something like this, where it's not really fast action, she's just giving some attitudes. This is pose to pose. And, I find that pose that I like, and then I animate the pieces in between, basically, and connect them, which is what I'm doing now. Here, this is her starting pose. This is the pose I want to get her into. So I'm animating the stuff in between to get her there.
Speaking of which, Aaron, if you want to go back to, if you want to open your mail on your other monitor, I just sent you a link to your old Lion King drawings of Nala's design. If you want to show any of those at some point. It was just one of your blog posts, so there's a whole bunch of stuff on there. But were there any scenes with young Nala that were cut from the final movie, or were all her scenes planned and went into animation?
All of her scenes were planned and went into animation. Yeah, we didn't, in animation, it's pretty rare to have stuff cut. I mean, it happens, but it's such a expensive process that, they want to make sure that they're not cutting. And so everything is really planned.
That's why they board everything to the frame.
Yeah, we board everything to the frame, and we'll board a movie, 3 times before we start making it, because you really want to make sure you've got a solid project before you start making it. Now, not to say that, mistakes don't get made, because they do. There we go. There she is. She's sitting up. We'll just add one more little in-between in here of her slowing into that.
Instagram question.
Sure.
Do I need to go to college to be an animator, or can I make it with just online education like your courses?
You can make it with online education. Absolutely. There's not just with me. I mean, I think we've got some great animation courses, but there's a lot of great websites out there teaching animation. And to be honest, I think private colleges have gotten ridiculously expensive. And so I think it's, if you can be self-motivated, there is something to be said about working with others in a college setting. But at the same time, a lot of private schools are, upper 40s to $50,000 a year.
At least in the U.S.
In the U.S., yeah, in the U.S. And so that to me is just, I can't justify that.
Speaking of courses and online art education, we've got recently released 2 new courses to our website. We've got a brand new drawing and painting course from Marco Bucci that's out right now. Dustin, I think we've got a slide for that one.
Yes.
And that's over 10 hours long. And Marco takes you through 3 different media, 3 different paintings. He demonstrates digital, acrylic painting, and watercolor. And he talks about color theory, his approach to drawing and painting. If you saw our last live stream, Marco was a guest on that, and the course is incredible. We also have a brand new 2D effects animation course from Joey Mildenberger that's out as well. And that course is over 11 hours long, and that's done on paper as well as digital. And Joey teaches you effects animation. So things like animating smoke and water drops and fire and landslides and gushing water rapids, all kinds of stuff, magical sparkles, pixie dust.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
It's a really cool course. I'd go ahead and check it out. And again, if you take advantage of our 4th of July sale, if you buy both of those courses together, that'll add up to over $50 and you'll get $15 off. So we're thinking about creatureartteacher.com.
Pretty crazy.
So here I have her just kind of settling into that pose, see?
Do you have any courses that are suitable for younger learners?
Depends on how young you're talking. So if you're talking about 4 or 5-year-olds, we don't have much there for that. But I do think we have stuff that's suitable for
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9, and up.
Yeah, we've got some courses from Tim Hodge that are really geared towards perfect for younger learners. They're good for people of all age, but how to draw cartoon animals, how to draw cartoon people. We've also got some really nice courses, a course from Ronnie Williford on an introduction to drawing that's aimed at younger, really the drawing basics. And yeah, all of those would be appropriate. Do your courses have subtitles in Spanish? Yes, the vast majority of them do. The ones that don't, we're in the process of adding now, but the vast majority have Spanish. Several have Portuguese. A few have Mandarin. We're working on adding more and more over time. Any stories that you remember from making The Lion King?
Well, there's tons. One of my favorite memories of working on The Lion King was in the beginning when we were learning how to draw the big cats. We had to learn the anatomy, we had to learn their movement, and so Jim Fowler, who many of you wouldn't remember Jim Fowler, but back in the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s, Jim Fowler, he was a big conservationist, and he was there was a show that was on television called Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom, and I watched it every Sunday night as a kid. And Jim Fowler was one of the guys on the show. Well, Disney brought Jim Fowler in with lions, and they had us all go out to the sound stages, and they brought the lions out on stage, and we got lectured by Jim Fowler, and we drew lions from life, and it was just a wonderful experience. And then on top of all that, for us in the Florida studio, we also they threw the whole studio, all the artists, they put us all on buses, on a bus, because we all fit. And we went down to Miami. We went to the Miami Metro Zoo for a weekend, and we went behind the scenes and drew all the animals there as well. In fact, I've still got some of those drawings. It was a great experience. I remember sitting there on the other side of the elephant pen, on the back side of the elephant pen where the public wasn't. And this elephant just kept picking up stones and throwing them at me with his trunk. And he was pretty accurate. He kept hitting me. It's pretty funny.
What are your thoughts on the 3D remake of The Lion King and the upcoming Mufasa prequel?
Well, I think they're pretty films to look at. I personally prefer the originals because of I love that they're making them realistic. There's something there that I think is really cool. The problem is I don't think that they emote as well. With the caricatures that we did in the hand-drawn versions, we were able to really get big expressions from them. And I think they're kind of held back by the lack of expression now, in trying to keep them realistic. And so I think, it suffers as a result. But I think they're beautiful films to look at.
Now, I personally, I've heard good things about Mufasa. We know people that have worked on it. So it's a little hard to judge a movie by the trailer. I'm curious to see how the story holds up there, because I think at least one of the problems people had with the Lion King remake was the story's already been done. So you're just, at least Mufasa is going to be a completely original story. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with it.
So here, I want to show you guys. I'm going to put this on a different layer. I'm going to create a new layer. So this was pose to pose. So what I did was I basically started with a pose here, created a pose there, and I created animation in between drawings to connect those two poses. Now I want to have her stand up and kind of turn around and strike a pose. So now what I'm going to do is do straight ahead. I'm going to do it very rough.
says, "Don't forget to save."
TV Paint automatically saves, but I will save.
Do you like Milk Call and Eric Larson?
I love them both.
Yeah, they're okay. Which of these classics do you prefer? Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Bambi, or Dumbo?
Bambi. Bambi's my favorite animated film.
Do you offer a discount on TV Paint? Yes, if you become a member to our website. If you're an annual or monthly streaming member, you get a discount. Or lifetime member. Did you ever work with Richard Williams?
I never did, unfortunately. I always wanted to.
So for people who watching who don't know, Aaron was the original designer and character designer and animator of young Nala in The Lion King. So since it's The Lion King 30th anniversary, that's why he's animating Nala today.
Yeah.
Would you say that some animation principles likely translate to stop motion?
I think a lot of animation principles translate to stop motion.
I would say pretty much all of them except
Yeah.
for the drawing one, right?
But yeah, they all do. So here I have her pulling her foot up.
Did you work with Mike Matisse on The Lion King? Or Matisse? How do you...
No.
What do you think about stop motion animation? Are you willing to try it someday?
Oh yeah, I love stop motion.
Did you ever watch any of the Barbie movies? They had some
No.
interesting animal designs in there. And any funny stories when you were in Kenya with cheetahs, lions, and elephants, hippos?
Oh, I've got tons of stories of just the experiences, sleeping at night with the hippos in the river right next to us, and we always joke that the hippos have they have French accents because they're always
Yeah, Africa is just a whole crazy, cool experience.
Can you explain the role of production designer on a 2D animated film? For instance, was Chris Sanders' job on The Lion King?
No, well, he wasn't production designer on everything. He did production. He did mainly story, but he did do production design on, and he art directed Can't Wait to Be King. But production designers they kind of oversee the art direction and they come up with the look of the film, of the production.
There's overlap with the art director, right? Pretty.
Yes. The art director is kind of tasked. The production designer, from an artistic standpoint, is it's more artistic than art director, and art director tends to be a bit more technical. Because the art director, it's up to them to maintain the look that the production designer comes up with.
Did you tend to do your own in-betweens of Nala?
It depended on how much time I had. So if I had time, I would do a lot of my own in-betweens.
Have you ever worked with Tom Bancroft?
I worked with Tom. Tom and I have known each other for 35 years. And we worked together for quite a while at Disney.
Have you had to argue with Glenn Keane on a project when both you didn't agree with the result?
No. No, we always agreed with the result, and I never would argue with Glenn Keane because he He knew he knows best. He was my mentor. I learned everything from Glenn. Not everything, but I learned a lot from Glenn. I learned a lot from Mark Henn as well.
Who did all of the animals in the opening song to The Lion King? Was it a lot of young animators or more experienced?
No, a lot of them was because it was being done in the beginning. It was a lot of the animators were they would take a shot. I don't like that nose.
They would take a shot.
Yeah, take a shot. You know, shot. No, the shots were kind of divvied out among all the animators.
So it was like, okay, so you get this part, you get that shot.
Yeah, the ants, the zebras, the giraffes, whatever.
You animated. Speaking of other animals in Lion King, you animated
The ostriches.
when Simba and Nala are riding on the ostriches, right?
Yeah. I mentioned that earlier when they were asking about "Can't Wait to Be King."
Right.
Yeah.
Did Nick Ranieri
Rainieri.
work on Lion King?
No, Nick was on. He did Miko in Pocahontas.
How did you communicate with the Burbank studio?
Phone and FedEx.
Pre-internet.
Yep.
Wait.
Telephone and FedEx.
Lots of Xerox copies.
It was a different time then.
Yep. So here you'll see I'm going to have her come up and then she's lifting her paw up right here. Actually, I'm going to have her come down.
I remember, I think the very first ever video call I ever seen, like before Skype was a thing, was you were having the video call meeting with Phil Collins during Bring Your Child to Work Day.
Yeah, and I brought you to work.
Yeah. And before that day, I never saw the technology of like actually seeing someone on screen and actually talking to them.
Yeah,
I always thought that was like such a sci-fi thing.
it was.
And now it's just an everyday, like, oh, I'm just going to video chat with somebody.
YouTube comment, I just downloaded your app. Your courses look great, and I'm looking forward to diving into them.
Oh, great.
Yeah, for people
thank
who,
you.
For people who don't know, we have a Creature Art Teacher app available for iPhone, iPad, basically iOS, as well as Apple TV. And we are neck deep in development on the Android app. That's going to be coming very soon. But if you go to the Apple App Store and search either Aaron Blaise or Creature Art Teacher, you can get the app. Someone said there's an app. Yep, it's been out for a long time, and we recently just put out a bunch of updates to it. And a lot of people say it's the best way to consume our courses because it lets you, it keeps track of what you've watched, gives you a continue watching, all that stuff.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that.
Is there any reason you would ever come back to Alaska?
Yeah, I don't need a reason. I love Alaska.
We've been talking about taking a trip there for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go there since I was a kid.
Were you allowed to clean up your own frames on The Lion King? And if not, did you have to collaborate with who does the cleaning up to make sure the expressions and poses didn't change too much?
Yes, so we work very closely with our assistants who are our cleanup people. And yes, no, I didn't do my own cleanup, and I worked closely with the cleanup artist.
It might be worth explaining that. So Aaron, the way that animation works in the 2D world is Aaron was what's called a supervising animator. So he designed and did the rough animation of the character of Nala. And then underneath him, he had assistant animators that would do in-betweeners and then also cleanup department.
Dogs are going crazy.
What the hell?
And Aaron's role as the supervising animator was to sort of guide that ship for that character. So you followed Nala all the way through that process and made sure she came out the way you intended, right?
Yep. Thanks for explaining it for me. It was exactly that. So it was, I would do, the acting basically is I think the the best way of explaining is just you're responsible for the acting of the character, and so in much the same way that I'm drawing right now, I would just keep things really rough, and then you have assistants that you could depend on that would come along and they would do all the pretty drawings that actually end up on the screen. Yeah.
YouTube question. I'm curious, what was the last Disney film you worked on, and what was your most ambitious scene that you've worked on in your career?
Well, the last film that I worked on that got made was Brother Bear. And probably the most ambitious, because I developed a couple of projects that didn't get made. And then the most ambitious shot, I've got a couple of them. I've always talked about the argument scene with Belle and Beast in front of the fireplace. That was, that took a lot of work. And, but it was really a great experience.
Was Brother Bear set in Wyoming, Montana, or Alaska?
Alaska.
Is there an animal you've wanted to animate but haven't yet?
Yeah, all of them. All the ones that I haven't animated yet. Have her start to move.
Will you ever do feedback or drawovers for other people's animation as part of the Creature Art Teacher website?
We've talked about doing it at some point.
And we have done portfolio, a couple of limited portfolio sessions for our members. But yeah, that's something we hope to do more of in the future.
So you'll notice I'm kind of following this arc as she sits up. She's pushing up. She gets those elbows or her feet under her so that she can push off. So this is, as she comes down, this is the anticipation of her pushing off.
When you produced your Flying Penguin short for Procreate Dreams, was it intentional to make your penguins look more realistic than the ones in Don Bluth's Pebble and the Penguin project?
I didn't even think of Don Bluth's Pebble and the Penguin project. I was just thinking about my own project. So it was just the designs that came out are the designs that I made, I guess.
Well, I mean, your designs naturally tend to be grounded more in realistic anatomy, so maybe that's part
yeah,
of it.
but I was never.
It wasn't
the
in
question
reference,
is that I intended to be different than the Pebble and the Penguin, and then I didn't even think about that project.
Michelle says, "Hello, live stream crew. And
Hello.
Happy 30th, Aaron."
Thank you.
Who made Anastasia in 1997? That was Don Bluth.
For Fox. Yep.
For Fox, yep.
So here notice the tilt of her head changing now too. As she gets up. Go nice and rough through here. There we go.
Will this live stream be posted after it's finished? Yes. It's always available on our YouTube and our Facebook. If you're watching on the other platforms like Instagram, I think they disappear there. Twitch, they stay up for a while and then I think they disappear. But you can always go to our YouTube channel, which is, or Facebook, and you can always just search Aaron Blaise Art on any of those social media platforms.
See, so here she's sitting up and then getting up like so. I'm actually going to have her come up and then turn to the left.
The Preston Blair books stress the use of construction lines, but the guys from Disney don't seem to need construction lines much. It's really amazing.
Well, it's just how, over time you start to see the drawings a little differently. I still use construction lines here and there.
I notice you'll use them more when you haven't drawn a character for a while. You'll start with...
Yes, that for sure. And here, she's growing a little bit. So I'm going to take these.
Violet has a question. Do you have any tips on how to make... Oh, wait, hold on. I just saw it. It just shifted. It was something about animating underwater. Just went away.
Weird. Strange.
Yeah, I found it. Do you have any tips for learning how to animate scenes that are underwater? Like, how do you make it feel like it's underwater?
A lot of that is, you want things to feel fluid. So you're following, you want to follow that lead, whatever is leading the movement. You want to follow it like hair is overlapping or a fish's body. You want to find that fluidity. And then there's also, things are always kind of drifting. And, if it tries to stop, it doesn't really stop. It hits a point, but then it drifts a little bit. If you look at, the animation that I did in Snow Bear, and this shot here, well, actually, watch when he dives in. You'll notice that in this shot, he's kind of drifting around. See how he kind of stops, but he still kind of pushes back? You want to think about the water, not just as air, like they're flying through the air, but there's resistance to it. So you can see here that I'm trying to be very fluid in the movement of the characters. And here, you notice how he continues to kind of drift a little bit. And even in this next shot, in the close-up, he's drifting.
What program are you using? This is TV Paint.
TV Paint.
tvpaint.com. Want to let people know that we are running our 4th of July sale. We just celebrated Independence Day here in the U.S., and everything on the website is on sale, 30% off or more. All of our brush sets are just $1. Our Procreate / Photoshop brushes. They also work in Clip Studio Paint, any software that supports ABR. All of our artist reference photo packs are $5 right now. And also, if you spend $50 or more, you'll get an instant $15 off your order, and that includes annual memberships. So go to creatureartteacher.com and take advantage of that. That runs through this weekend. Also, if you're interested in getting Aaron's Art of Aaron Blaise Volume 2 art book, which is a hardcover coffee table book, it's an awesome 250-page beautiful book. We might have a copy of it here. We can show in a little bit. We've got free shipping on signed copies this weekend only if you use promo code USA Books during checkout. That's free shipping on signed copies.
Which would you say is more dangerous, Cape buffalo or hippos?
Probably hippos.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I'm in the right.
Shell says, "Can't wait to see the premiere for Snow Bear. Do you have a release date in mind?"
We're hoping to have something out, start showing it around the end of the year. So November-ish.
So we're going to do the festival circuit and everything first. It'll be in film festival. There's kind of a...
Yeah. And Nick and I are talking about taking it on the road as well.
Mm-hmm. Doing a multi-city tour, screening it, and those will be events. We'll be announcing those. We'll be going to cities in the U.S. and probably Europe as well. And those will be, it's only a 10-minute short. So what we'll do is we'll screen the movie, and then we'll have sort of a Q&A/demo session where we talk about the making of and maybe do some live animation and answer questions. So it should be a fun evening. So stay tuned. TOON.
So here I'm going to just get loose with it. So what I'm doing is I'm having her swivel on her paw. And start to take the weight off of the back. Like so. There's her other paw right there.
What is a perfect day for the Blaise family consist of?
A perfect day? Oh, it could be any number of things. I'd love to get out in the boat, which I haven't done in a while.
Yeah, that's nice.
Anytime I can get out at the beach is a perfect day. Getting out into the park behind our house and exploring. I love to get out there and ride.
Eric on Twitch asks, to your knowledge, were there any African animals that were pitched as characters but then ended up getting cut from The Lion King?
That I don't know. That's a good question.
What was the question again?
Were there any animals that were characters in The Lion King that ended up getting cut? That would have happened during the script phase, right?
Yeah. So now I'm kind of, so I've gone kind of straight ahead in her getting up. So now I want her to kind of strike a pose.
Didn't you animate the ancestor scene in Mulan as though it was underwater?
I did.
Yeah, one of my favorite shots.
Yeah, I did that. I wanted it to have that kind of ghostly, ethereal kind of feel. So I purposely animated it with lots and lots of in-betweens. And, like things like the sleeves never stop. They're always moving. and I animated them very even so they would have this kind of floaty kind of feel.
I'll be right back. There's a theory that The Lion King was inspired by the anime film Kimba the White Lion. Do you believe that at all?
No, not that that was never ever brought up when I was working on it.
It was based on Hamlet, right?
Yeah, all based on Hamlet.
And you see those videos saying, "Oh, how similar they are," and actually, they're really not that similar. The names sound similar, but Simba is Swahili for cub, right?
No, it's lion.
Lion, sorry.
Yeah.
How do you animate? This is a Twitch question. Squash and how do you implement squash and stretch while also keeping the internal structure of the animals in mind?
There's certain, you think about the skeleton, you think about bones. Certain parts will squash and stretch more. Like I'm not going to squash the head as much as I might squash and stretch the belly. There's things like that I think about. And that helps keep things believable.
What's your opinion on the current state of the animation industry for up and coming animators? And also, do you have any thoughts on rigged puppet animation versus frame by frame?
It's a great rigged puppet animation is a great medium, especially for getting stuff done a little quicker. It's not my preferred way of doing things, although I'd be willing to learn. And Nick and I have looked at a few things here and there. What was the other part of the question?
Well, just what's your thought on the industry for up and coming animators right now?
It's scary with AI, and it's also exciting with all the tools we have. So it's hard. I know it's hard, but I also see, I look at the tools that I'm getting to use nowadays, and I would have killed to have these tools 35 years ago. The ability to make film now, make stories and from individuals is, better than it's ever been.
Someone asks, I see you're still working in TV Paint 11. Are there any reasons in your mind to update to TV Paint 12? There's a lot of cool features in TV Paint 12.
Yeah.
We addressed this earlier. We haven't updated yet because we're still in the middle of a production, and they even recommend, hey, don't switch in the middle of a production. It is backwards compatible, but just to be safe, finish up what you're doing and then switch over.
Yeah.
But as far as new features, they've really improved camera movement
the camera
in TV
movement,
12,
yeah.
which is a big one. They've also, speaking of what we were just talking about, started adding some puppet rig animation if you're interested in that sort of stuff.
That they've spent a lot of time on.
And they also spent a lot of time fixing resolution issues so that you can zoom in on your bitmaps more without it getting blurry. There's a lot of, because TV Paint is bitmap versus Toon Boom, which is vector based. So there's pros and cons to both, but short answer, there's a lot of reasons to update. We're just holding off until we're finished with our production. Which scenes of the ancestors from Mulan were animated by Byron Howard?
Oh shoot, he did a lot. A lot of the group shots he did.
He was your assistant on that, right?
Yes. He did a lot. I can't remember. I couldn't explain them off the top of my head.
I'd have to go watch it. But Byron did so much.
When did you consider yourself to be a great artist?
Oh, I don't know if I think there's definitely a point in my life where I got comfortable with it, or it wasn't as much of a struggle. Although it's always a struggle, but I've learned methods over the years on how to kind of work through it a little better.
Yeah, Aaron does not go around thinking of himself as a great artist. He's not egotistical like that. Does Disney keep backups of early versions of their film? Are there unfinished reels of The Lion King somewhere in their vault?
Yes.
And Brother Bear and all those. Yep. Will you publish Snow Bear on YouTube? Eventually, we probably will.
Yes, I think at some point it'll happen. Just not going to happen for a while. There's a few things we'd like to do with it. We'd like to, if it can get distributed and, so people can see it in a streaming type fashion, then we'd love to do that as well. So, we're trying to look at different options down the road. And like we said, we're going to be taking it out on the road for the film festival, on the film festival circuit. But Nick and I are also coming up with a kind of an on the road thing that we're going to do where it's basically an evening talking about animation, and we show Snow Bear and talk about my experiences in the industry and have some fun.
And for those of you just joining us, the reason we're animating Nala today is Aaron was the character designer and animator of young Nala in The Lion King. And this stream, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of The Lion King.
That's right.
30 years ago this summer. And changed the whole world of animation.
It really did. And we felt it. We knew it when it was happening.
Will we be seeing Snow Bear at the Annecy Film Festival next year?
We are hoping so.
Most likely, if all goes well. The film will definitely be done by then. Obviously, it's up to them to decide if they want to screen it, but we're hoping so.
Yeah, we're going to enter it for sure. We just you can't guarantee it until they say yes.
Will you be doing anything more with design cuts? I enjoyed your stream with them the other day. Yes, we will be.
Yes. I was trying to remember.
It's hard to animate and draw at the same time and talk and think.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, I'll post a link in the comments. For the people who don't know, Aaron did a Procreate drawing demonstration about a week or so ago over at the Design Cuts website, and it's free on their website for the next 30 days. After that, it's only available to their paying members. So I'll post a link so you can check it out. It was a lot of fun.
So here you can see her.
Michelle said your stream was really fun, the Design Cuts one. It makes me want to see your take on a pangolin one day. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever drawn one?
No, lots of scales. So here you'll notice there's a couple of things I'm doing here that, if I said animate a lion standing up, it's not just standing up. There's things that you got to think about from a physiology standpoint on how they're going to move. So here, she sits up and strikes her pose, but then in order to get up, she's got to get those front paws under her, which is what she's doing here. And then she's got to kind of push forward. And then a lot of the times they lift up with their front legs first. So you'll see her come up with her front legs, push off with her front legs, then the backside comes up. So they don't happen at the same time. She pushes off with the front feet, and then the back stands up. So what I'm going to do here
If Disney asked you to come back and work on a 2D animated feature, would you do it? Would depend on the
I
details.
think it would depend on the details of the project.
Never say never.
Exactly.
Twitch question. I know Disney used to assign animators to a character, and sometimes they would two people would share a shot if they were multiple characters in a scene.
We'd always share a shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Why is it that studios don't do that as much anymore? That primarily has to do with the difference between 3D and 2D, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain?
Yeah.
that?
Well, why they stopped doing it, I don't know, because I used to ask them that all the time. Why don't you? And I always got different answers. It was easy. It's just easier from an assignment standpoint. If ever, if someone has, because you don't have to worry about drawing them on model anymore, right?
Yeah, because the rig, the character is modeled.
Right. My argument to that was that it's not just look, that it's also just the personality you put into the acting and performance. And so, not all the animators, if all the animators are animating all the characters, then it feels like they would all get homogenized. They'd all start feeling the same in my mind.
Which I think you could argue has happened to some degree.
Yeah. Now, there are character supervisors that are, it's their job to kind of oversee to make sure that a character is being animated correctly. But, I always thought of course, it's me just holding on to old ways too. But I always thought the old way of, assigning single characters to animators kept the characters really consistent.
Instagram question. What's your number one tip on animating emotions in a character?
The number one tip is feeling, getting into that character's head or getting into the writing and really feeling that emotion that you're trying to get across. If you can put yourself in that headspace, then drawing it, it starts to flow out of you. When you can feel that emotion, then you'll feel it coming onto the paper or onto the screen.
I've also heard you say, from an acting standpoint, in your acting for animation course, which is on our website, you say animate what they're thinking, not what they're doing.
Yes, animate what a character's thinking, because that'll half the time you're animating what they're feeling, and that's going to determine, like if I tell you to animate a character sweeping the floor. Okay, so you'll sit there and you'll have a character sweeping the floor. Now, if I say, I want you to animate that character sweeping the floor, but they're really angry. They don't want to be doing it. Well, that's a whole other attitude. Okay, animate that character sweeping the floor, and they've got to get it done before they can go to the dance or go someplace that they want to go. Okay, well, that's going to be another attitude. So when you have the attitude or the emotional state of the character and you animate that, what they're thinking, then that's really going to determine the animation.
What was it like getting to work with Byron Howard and Chris Sanders?
It was awesome. I love working with those guys. Those guys are brilliant artists. So getting to work with them and learn from them, it was always great.
Why did Ollie Johnston always say animate what the character is thinking?
I just went through all of that.
We just went through all that. Gotcha.
Yeah. Because when you animate what the character's thinking, you're animating, it's determining what and how to animate what they're doing.
Was Roy Disney involved with Lion King?
Yeah.
You got any if you like The Lion King, hit that like button, hit that share button, and then also let us know in the comments what your favorite scene is, or if you have a question about The Lion King, let us know. We'll see if we can answer it. Have you ever met or talked to Claire Keene?
Yes. I actually met Claire Keene when she was 9 years old. When I was an intern, I was working with her dad because he was teaching me animation. She was 9 at the time. She came into the studio to visit her dad, and so he introduced us. I don't think she remembers that, but I certainly remember. And I also know Max. I've met Max a few times, his son.
What was your funniest memory while doing The Lion King?
Oh, I don't know. I can't think of any funny memories per se, but just the whole experience of working on The Lion King was just, I mean, how lucky is that to be one of 300 or so people that, helped create that film. That it's such an honor for me. And that's what I really kind of think back on most is at the time you're making it, you don't know that it's going to be a big hit. And so it's not embedding itself into your brain as much. And it was, it's hard to say, what the funniest memory is. The whole process of making these films were fun.
Do you miss characters like Nala after you finish a project?
Yes. They live with you forever.
Why was Jeffrey Katzenberg a pusher when you made films under him?
A pusher?
A pusher. What? I don't know what he means by that.
Well, I mean, if you mean like pushing to get things done, that was his, job as the head of the studio to make sure things got done and got done on budget, and it's his responsibility to the stockholders to make a profit.
I was looking for that manual, the Rubikino drawings, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, the blue binder?
Yeah, I didn't see it. I thought it was on the bookshelf out there. But I didn't see it.
I've got it.
I thought that'd be a cool thing to show.
Where do I have it?
I'll look for it.
Is it in there? I don't think I'm not sure it's in there. I know I've got it somewhere.
Shelf out there.
I think it might be in one of in one of those drawers over there, actually. I'm gonna add one more finished drawing here. There's a certain pose I want to get her in. It's kind of this little happy pose.
Which characters from The Lion King were designed by Chris Sanders, and which scenes did he storyboard?
I don't know what shots he storyboarded, but I know he storyboarded Can't Wait to Be King. But he didn't design any of the characters.
Yeah, no, he wasn't the character. He did. He designed Stitch and Lilo and Stitch, and
somewhat, yeah. And then Alex Cooper-Schmidt finished it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever met Ward Kimball?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yep. Met him a few times, actually.
What was Ward like?
He was a crotchety old guy.
Was he?
Yeah, but he was fun.
Who did Frollo on Hunchback of Notre
Kathy
Dame?
Zielinski, who is in Italy right now, riding bicycle.
And your brother Travis was her assistant, right?
Yeah. think I'm gonna have her.
Caleb on Instagram says, I watched your course on four-legged drawing and I'm working on animating my own alligator. He's coming along.
Right on. I love it.
Caleb also says, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Deedly-dee. Do you plan to do more animation in Procreate Dreams?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Who directed Princess and the Frog again?
Ron Clements and John Musker.
Who directed, I believe, 9 or 10 Disney features.
Yeah. Most prolific Disney directors ever.
Did you ever not like some of your animation, but it ended up in the film anyway?
There's definitely animation that I look at now and wish that I could go back in time and do differently. You know, as a young animator, it probably wasn't as good as it should have been, but you know, I just didn't have the skill that I have now. I'm definitely a better animator now than even when I left Disney.
What's your favorite achievement as an animator? What's closest to your heart?
To be honest with you, the project I'm working on now, I've always wanted to animate my own film, and I've never been able to do it. And the fact that we've been able to do it is really satisfying, and I'm really happy about it and proud of it. And that to me is my best kind of artistic animation achievement.
Have you ever done cell animation before?
Yes.
Well, so all of the films Aaron animated were animated on paper, and
Yeah.
then
Little Mermaid was the last film done on cell, on feature. But I worked on Roller Coaster Rabbit, which was the first film I ever worked on. It was a Roger Rabbit short cartoon, and it came out with the movie Dick Tracy back in 1990, and that was all done on cell.
Was Prince and the Pauper?
Prince and the Pauper was done on cell as well. Yeah,
You
that's
animated
right.
Mickey in that, right?
Yes, I animated what's his name, the big guy, the villain guy,
Bluto
Bluto.
or Pete?
Pete, yeah, Peg Leg Pete, not Bluto.
Bluto's Popeye, or as my son says, Popeye.
Popeye.
He said, "Dad, can I watch Popeye?" Took me a little bit to figure out what he was saying. I was like, "What are you asking me?" Popeye.
Why are you saying it like that? Dad, would you like me to pour you some whiskey?
Whiskey. Who whip?
She's a wuff of thin quith.
Whip.
How would you describe Milk Call's work?
Perfect.
In a word.
Perfection.
Did you ever cross paths with Ken O'Connor?
No, I never did. He did come to the studio, actually. I think I did meet him once. But in the early days, he passed away soon after.
They never crossed paths, but they were once involved in a barroom brawl.
Right.
Have you tried animating in Krita by chance?
No, I've drawn and painted in Krita.
I've heard good things about it. Just haven't tried it. Do you miss working at Disney?
Oh,
No. I enjoyed what I had at Disney. I enjoyed that part of my life. But everything in my life has changed. Disney has changed. Everything has changed. not something you could ever go back to. Not to say I don't miss it, because it occupied a certain part of my life that I loved, and I definitely loved it. But I love what I'm doing now as well.
Lilorosh is on Facebook.
Hello, Lilorosh.
Hello, Lilorosh.
That seems like a good time to mention that we've got some brand new watercolor sketchbooks with Lilorosh.
Yes. Yeah, we mentioned them earlier in the stream. Let's show them again. Sorry, I'm just finishing up this drawing. So there's Nala kind of standing up, getting up, and striking a pose. So here we go to just the single camera.
Yep.
If you get the set of 3 watercolor sketchbooks that Lilorosh has made using my imagery for the cover, it comes in a beautiful box like so, and with one of my hidden creature sketches on the cover, on the lid, and then it's the 2024 collection. And then the collection has 3 books. Now you can buy each book individually, but there is the wolf portrait, and then there's the lion portrait, so, and then there is the tiger portrait, like so. And they're 56 pages. I've already done a little painting inside the lion portrait one. That was one of our photographs. Dustin shot a bunch of photos of elephants while we were in Africa. So I did a little watercolor sketch. The weight of the paper is wonderful. It's nice and heavy, which I like.
It's 300 GSM, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And the tooth of the paper is just right. It's cold pressed, so it's got some tooth to it. So you can control the watercolor, and it bleeds nicely. But it's not too rough, which is great. So you can still draw in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love them. So if you go to lilorosh.com, Lilorosh.com.
And I also just posted a link in the comments.
Oh, good. Check them out.
Now they are based out of India, so in the upper right hand, so the site defaults to Indian rupees, but you can change it to your local currency in the upper right hand corner for pricing, and they're really reasonably priced.
And also, they've got great art bags called Arties, and so check out the whole site. It's just they've got really great products that I've we discovered each other back in 2015, I believe it was. And I've been in love with their stuff ever since. They're great people, great products. Support them. So once I'd find a pose or a little piece of animation like this, like in this shot where it would just be her sitting up. You can notice too, there's that first drawing. See how rough they get? They definitely get rougher as I go.
Question. I'm a rising senior at my residential art high school, and we're going on a trip to Disney in October. Do you have any suggestions for what I could do to make the most of my time there? I assume you mean Disney World, or do you mean Disneyland in California?
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't have, you probably have more suggestions than me.
Yeah, I mean, well, one I know you would agree with. I love Animal Kingdom. So if you're going to Disney World,
yeah,
and October's the right time of year to be going, by the way. I don't know why people go in the summer to Disney World. I mean, I know it's because kids are on vacation, but it's the most crowded, hottest time of year to go.
It's miserable.
If you can go around Halloween, like Halloween through winter is the time you want to be at Disney World. October, November, December, January even.
Yeah.
I'd avoid it around Christmas because it's super packed at Christmas.
And New Year's.
Yeah, between Christmas
And
and
spring
New Year's.
break.
but
The time between Thanksgiving and Christmas is the least packed. Is the one of the best times to go.
yeah, up until a few days before Christmas, and then Christmas to New Year's is the busiest, right?
Yes.
Other than summer.
Summer.
Would you ever consider directing a live action film?
Sure. We've talked about it actually. But it would be a live action kind of visual effects mix.
Question, I just joined late. Have you been to France and back yet since the last stream?
Yes, so we went to Annecy, France, and had a wonderful time, and really fell in love with that town.
Yeah, the town is gorgeous. The festival's incredible. I highly recommend if you're into animation, go to Annecy.
Yeah, I've never been to a more beautiful city. Nick and I rented a boat one day, and we were just flabbergasted by the beauty of that lake.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Which, by the way, was super easy to do. You just walk right up. They're all lined up. You hop in, and you're off. If you go out on a boat for the day. It's totally worth it, and it's not expensive.
No.
What was it like working with Rob Minkoff and Roger Ehlers on The Lion King? Roger Ehlers.
They were great. They were really, really great. They're pros. And, they created a beautiful film. And they helped, they headed that up. Great story, guys. And they were wonderful to work with.
I believe it was Tim Hodge was telling us a story about how the music for The Lion King, they were originally wanted to get Paul Simon.
I had heard that. I don't know the story well, but I did hear that.
Yeah,
because he had just come out with the
Graceland, yeah, and it had
Yeah.
a lot of the world music sort of vibe to it.
yeah.
And but apparently he was way too expensive. They approached him to do it, and then
I don't know how collaborative he would have been either.
yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I guess they had a conversation about it. At least according to Tim, there was a conversation, and then ultimately they got Elton John. And I was reading an article on Variety or something, and they were talking about how the original director of The Lion King,
George Scribner.
was really not happy about Elton John being brought on to do the music. He couldn't envision that music for his film.
Yeah, that I don't know. I've never heard that. I just know George was on the project for quite a while, and then he the project was postponed for a little bit while George went away, and they brought on Roger and Rob.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate it is, but in the Variety article, that's what they were saying, that was part of some of those conversations when all that was happening. And then obviously Elton came on, and that soundtrack, I believe, is the highest selling animated feature movie soundtrack of all time.
Probably. I'd be surprised.
I can't imagine
I
that
guess Frozen might be a close one.
Yeah, true. But it would just be totally a different world if Elton John hadn't done that music.
Completely.
Because that relaunched his career too.
It really did.
Oh, someone mentioned that in Inside Out 2, there's a which I took Rivers to see, by the way. There's a 2D animated character. And,
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's animated in TV Paint.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's a kudos for them.
Want to let people know that we've got the 2 deals of a lifetime going on over at Creature Art Teacher, the biggest deals in the history of our website. You go to
Ever.
creatureartteacher.com. Hey, Dustin,
Yes.
we've got 2 deals of a lifetime going to Creature
Is
Art
he
Teacher.
sleeping again over there?
No.
CreatureArtTeacher.com. We have a lifetime annual membership to Creature Art Teacher. It really is literally the deal of a lifetime. It gets you everything on the website plus everything we come out with forever. If you go to CreatureArtTeacher.com, you can pick that up. We're over 70% sold out on those. So
That's awesome.
we're hitting.
huge.
Thank you to everybody that's purchased a membership. You're directly helping us finish our film Snow Bear, and we really appreciate it. But if you haven't picked one on up yet, there's still time. So go to creatureartteacher.com and check it out. We've also got our animation mega bundle as well, which is a little more affordable, and that gets you over $500 worth of courses for less than $50.
So next thing I'm going to do after I finish this drawing, I'm going to go ahead and time it out. We'll play it. We'll play the animation. But this is Nala. I was going to have her turn around, but I realized it was going to take me a little bit of time, so I thought I would just have her stand up and strike a pose. Do a little bit of Lion King voguing.
A YouTube question.
Yes.
I'm a hobby animator and I really enjoy it, but I'd like to try my hand at doing sound design and editing as well. I'm curious if that's something you would outsource, or do you attempt to do it, or have you done it yourself?
I've done a lot of my temporary sound on my own in Snow Bear. We've got a membership to a sound library, basically. And, but the final version, the professional version, we outsource it. That's not my area of expertise. And, like John Roche and Charles Kohlmeyer, those are the 2 guys that are going to be doing the Foley work for us. John Roche did Foley for E.T. I mean, he's been
And
around.
Brother Bear.
And Brother Bear. But
2 similarly popular films.
Yes. He's been around for years. And so I wouldn't even assume to know, what he knows regarding that discipline. And so that's the thing, if you want it done well, then that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and then as far as the editing, though, you are handling that on Snow Bear. We're doing that now. It's different because Snow Bear is basically a one-man animated film. If it was a feature, we probably wouldn't tackle the editing ourselves. Because you'd be working with board artists, and that'd all be getting cut in.
Right. Gonna move all these down.
What is Once Upon a Studio about?
It's basically celebrating all of the characters that Disney's done over the years.
It was for the 100th anniversary. Last year that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a random question, but who's your favorite James Bond actor?
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. Solid.
Solid.
How does one start a short film on your own? What should the process be step by step, which we could follow along with? We actually plan on having a course on it.
Yeah, that was our motivation behind making it really in the first place. But it's hold on, sorry, I'm thinking about timing here. You got to come up with that idea, and if you want to make it a short film, then keeping it simple is very important. Keeping the idea simple And then you go from there. You know, you decide what kind of scope you want to have. Let's see here. I'm just going to put all these on 4s.
Here's a question for you, Aaron. Over the years, how many people have told you that they've named a dog or a cat after Nala?
So many. So many.
It has to be in the hundreds. Right?
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot.
Also heard of some Kenais and Kodas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Nala by
we had
far.
a cat named Kenai.
Actually, more Kodas than anything else. More dogs named Koda.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of personally more Nalas. Like so many people I know have had a dog or a cat named Nala.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Any chance you will color this animation of Nala?
Not right now, because we're coming up on the end of our stream here. And I'd have to go through and kind of clean it all up.
Is there a reason your animation software is not full screen today?
I just don't have it full screen. I can make it full screen. There we go. Now we're full screen. Sorry, guys. I just wasn't even thinking about it.
Did you ever visit Africa or alternatively attend any of the live animal drawing sessions during the production of The Lion King?
I did tons of live animal sessions whenever they had them. We brought lions in, but I was not part of the crew that went to Africa.
Actually, if you go,
But I've gone to Africa since.
if you go to your email on the other desktop, Aaron, if you open it up, I've got that link, and it's got some of your Chewy drawings and your Nala development drawings and all that stuff. Not on the laptop, just put it up there. Go to the face cam, Dustin, for a sec.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You don't actually have to put it on the other screen. I just want you to open your email on it.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. There we go. Now, what am I doing? Opening
Just
my
go to your email.
email. Oh, there we go. That's from Aladdin. Actually, I'll scroll through all these.
And if you click on them, they should enlarge.
Yeah. You can go to the desk too, Dustin. So this is on our website. This is at creatureartteacher.com. These are some of my old animation designs. But this is some of my old designs from Aladdin. And they start out, with life drawing, with real, drawing real tigers. So that's what I did here in China marker, little grease pencils. And how do I get back now?
Escape key should do it.
Oh, and so that's what those are. And then I started getting some of the designs. But if we scroll down, these are some of the drawings I did from life drawing with, this is 1993. When they brought a lion in, and
The way that page imported, it doesn't treat them all as one you can arrow.
got it.
Sorry.
Here's another one. And drawing the cubs.
And these,
Yep.
so these were during the animal drawing sessions that you're
Yeah,
talking
all
about.
of these were during animal drawing sessions when we were during The Lion King. Just learning and simplifying the anatomy, understanding how all those parts work together. Chewy was a young, kind of thin lion, so it showed off his anatomy really well. So you could see where I was looking at the shoulders and kind of the squaredness of the muzzle. Same thing here, looking at the hips. He was quite the lion. And then this is once, when I started caricaturing Nala. This is getting pretty close to the finished look of her. These are some earlier versions. A little more cartoony. This is more of what she ended up in as in the story. But you can see a lot of the anatomy, work that we did went into that final product. Even though these are cartoony, there's a lot of anatomy in there.
Let's see that hip and shoulder blade.
Yeah, the hips and shoulder blades, all of that. Here's some of my ancestor drawings from Mulan. Some of them, they never made it into the movie, but this is what, how I started out designing that character or those characters. Some of them were like Japanese opera, stage opera type stuff, the makeup. These were characters that made it into the film. A lot of these were based on Chen Yi Chang's drawings, who was our original character designer on the film. Fun stuff. When we get to Milan's 30th, we'll pull all this stuff out.
These, you've still got the originals of some, right?
Oh yeah, I've got all these in boxes. Yeah, piles of them. And Brother Bear stuff. Yeah. So anyway, lots of cool stuff.
Violet says, I want to say thank you for inspiring me to my entire life to animate. And just when I thought I would never learn, I saw you on the Corridor Digital and I learned about your website. You made my dreams come true.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Well, here you go. There's a little bit of Nala animating, sitting up and standing up, and some of the mechanics that might go into that.
It'd be fun to finish this one out.
Yeah. I could finish this. But tie it down and in between it, I could do that in a few days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could put it out there. Actually, that's a great idea.
So follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. It's all Aaron Blaise Art. If you search Aaron Blaise Art, maybe we'll post this finished animation up there. Maybe we'll even color it.
Yeah, we'll get this. Let's get this into color. We'll do that. And you notice too, I'm doing different things with like the tail. I have the tail shift over as she starts to stand up, and then as she stands, I kind of straighten it out and curl it back up again. So little things like that to kind of break up everything.
Also, if you want to sign up to the newsletter on our website at Creature Art Teacher, we'll share this animation there. And we also send out a bunch of free brushes and stuff if you sign up for that. So creatureartteacher.com, there's a newsletter link right on the homepage.
Now here, I have her sit up really fast. One of the things I love about animation is how much you can change the mood of something by changing the timing. So like in here, I can come in and change the timing of her head rise. See, that's a little bit slower, and it just gives it a little bit more of a relaxed feel where she sits up. Maybe give that even more time right there. So each one of these drawings that you see down on the timeline, I'm holding them for a certain number of frames. And then what I would do is then go back and fill in the gaps of those open frames. I would fill those in with more drawings to get smooth action. And so maybe we can we'll show that process in a later video. But there you go. You'll notice how she's stepping forward, little things like that foot coming forward, then she puts her weight on it. You want to think about weight anatomy right there. She puts her weight down on it. All those different things, even the loose skin where she's lying down between her knee and her belly. There's loose skin that goes in between there. You always want to think about all that stuff. So anyway, I hope you guys learned something today, and it was fun rehashing an old character. It was like getting to visit my kids again. I love Nala. She was always so much fun to animate, and so it was a pleasure to share her with you today. So I hope you guys had fun. Remember, we've got a whole bunch of stuff going on at creatureartteacher.com. And check out Lilorosh and the new sketchbooks we've got with them. We've got our Lifetime membership going on, which is a huge help. If you want to become a lifetime member, it's a one payment. It's the biggest deal we've ever done. And the proceeds from that is going towards finishing Snow Bear. You pay once and you have access to the entire website, everything we do for a lifetime. It's pretty cool.
Yep. And we've got free shipping, free USA shipping this week on signed books. Be sure to grab those, creatureartteacher.com/books. We are starting to get low on those, and we are out of volume 1. Volume 1 sold out, and our other book sold out too. So if you're interested in getting this book, be sure to pick it up, creatureartteacher.com/books. And then finally, for 4th of July weekend, if you spend over $50, you get an instant $15 off. So there you go.
Bada bing.
Bada bing.
Well, I hope you guys had a great time. Go on over to creatureartteacher.com, become a member, and you can join us again on Tuesday, because I'll be back every Tuesday and Thursday as we make Snow Bear and finish it up. Otherwise, I'll see you back here on the first Friday of August.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So go on out there, put some beauty back in the world. That's what we do as artists. And I will talk to you whatever the next time is that I see you. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Go out and be safe. Make some art.
Cowboy Bebop.
Bye-bye.